Hi everybody, I'm Zach and I like movies, and I'm here to talk about the latest from Edgar Wright, The Running Man. So England's own Edgar Wright is still probably one of the more favorite directors to talk about in film circles. What with his very likable, very recognizable, zippy, zany, fun, music, rhythmic style of visual comedy and just an obvious wearer wears a very clear, passionate love for many genres of movies on both sleeves. Especially given his his original start on like the show Spaced and the Cornetto trilogy with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and eventually like still further built that cult following what with his adaptation of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. But around 2015ish, he was starting to get further broached into Hollywood. Was offered an Ant-Man project, was really passionate about that, but eventually stepped away from creative freedom. But eventually came back with a big hit with movies where he started to sort of flex, sort of branch out from what he of like typical comedy stuff with his 2017 playlist heavy car chase film Baby Driver, and then his last film, his sort of a ghost time travel Suspiria riff, Last Night in Soho. But now we have The Running Man, which is not a remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle classic, but is instead a more direct adaptation of the Stephen King novel that it's based on. Where here we have Glen Powell playing Ben Richards. He's a down on his luck guy. He has a sick daughter. He is living on Skid Row, and this sort of vague dystopia in the far off year of 2025, and he signs up to participate in The Running Man. It is this the most famous show on this media corporatocracy dystopia, where like we have the mega producer Dan Killian, played by Josh Brolin. He wants him because he sees the star power in him. I mean, just look at him. Glen Powell just looks like a fleeting man, and it's a big death game where you have like 3 contestants. Each of them get like a month to be hunted down and chased by like not just their hunters, but also like the public. And if they make it to the end of 30 days, they get $1 billion. And so he's got to do it. He's got a sick kid. But from there, that would involve like chases and suspense sequences and stuff like that. And the results here are surprisingly frustrating. Like, yeah, I got a lot of mixed feelings on this, and I do want to start with the good. I think the actors all do really good stuff. This is I really am on the Glen Powell train. He's like, and I understand people who aren't, because he seems almost made in a lab to be the next Tom Cruise, which is a little funny because he's not really doing like Tom Cruise here. I feel like here he's in this movie he's sort of like if Ryan Reynolds like had a mode other than sardonic disaffection. But yeah, he's very likable. He knows how to he knows how he looks on camera, and he knows he looks great. Like there's a great scene where you just get to show off he gets to show off his like studly bod, which like is funny. Like, you expect me to believe this guy's poor? Like, obviously this guy's poor. He's blowing all his money on a protein powder, obviously. But also you have like a Josh Brolin as Dan Killian. He's mostly just kind of there, but he gets the job done. It's nothing he can't do. But like I feel like a real scene stealer here is Bobby T, the host of the show, the host of the Running Man show, played by Coleman Domingo, who's he brings the charisma that Coleman Domingo does. He's so magnetic and really understands the assignment. And you have some other appearances. There's like a bit part with like William H. Macy. There's a really good part with Michael Cera that I really loved. And and there's also that there is some like disappointing aspects with the casting. Like Lee Pace plays a character here, and I always love seeing Lee Pace in things, but he plays a character who's basically like the sort of like sub villain of the movie, where like he's like the main hunter guy chasing after Ben Richards, who's like he's always masked up. There's military fatigues. He almost has like kind of a Revolver Ocelot aspect to him, and he's always covered up. And why would you cover Lee Pace? He's too handsome. Also, one of the other contestants is played by Katy O'Brien, who sadly once again isn't really given a lot to do. She is, and like if you've ever seen Love Lies Bleeding, that woman is a goddamn star. You got to give her a leading role, really give her like something to chew on. But hey, she's here. She's hot. She's cool. I'm not mad that Katy O'Brien is here. I feel like in terms of like it as an adaptation of the book, I think it mostly gets there, which I'll kind of get to later. But I feel like it gets it has like more interesting things to do and say about like what the things that like Kane was like that Kane was talking about in the book about like media manipulation, and like this even has like an interesting aspect of like a deep fake AI imagery, and again using media to like not just like a push narratives and satiate the bloodlust of the masses kind of thing, and I think it does a lot that's pretty to the note of the book. Although I would say there's like some like there's like some tonal issues, mostly because like Edgar's kind of going for a sort of Verhoeven light aspect in like certainly in the sense of like this like dystopian future, and like what with like the overproliferation of like these like these like really funny and intentionally obnoxious like reality TV shows, or like these funny products like there's a cereal called Fun Twinks, which is really funny, and but like onto the struggling aspect, like as an action movie, or even like selling this as an action movie, the action's like okay, nothing's really bad, but nothing I would say is all that great either. It feels more like Edgar Wright was sort of like stepping back, and sort of like he's not being like front facing as an action movie, more like it's a dystopian cross country survivalist movie with like action beats kind of thing. This isn't like a Hot Fuzz, but man, this is the most anonymous an Edgar Wright movie has ever felt, and I really don't know why. Like I'm so fascinated by that, because Edgar has he has such a very distinct style. It's like if you watch the Cornetto trilogy, like there's hardly like, if you compare this to like even Baby Driver or Scott Pilgrim, there's such an obvious sense of like those movies have like a very clear sense of visual language, and with like the rhythm of the editing, usually to the rhythm of the song that it's playing. There's like a consistent sense of like fluid editing or match cut editing, and there's not really enough of that here in The Running Man. It's you do see that, but only in like sparks. There's even the sound, even the music, there's not even like much of a sense of like the musicality to Edgar Wright's work, which I'm not sure why. This like I don't get it. Like even like it's really frustrating. Why is it like that? And you kind of couple that aspect with like, like the first half is like doing like some pretty solid stuff of like setting up the game, setting up the stakes, and the spaces of like these like sets and stuff. like as it moves on, it's sort of like this back half like really lags in the sense of like where we're going, where like things are happening, but they're not like getting us to the end. And I think from that, it's kind of why this like when we get like to the when we get to like the plane, this third act with the plane, it feels kind of like a fourth act almost. And then and I think especially with like the sort of way that the social commentary around Ben Richards, where like he's sort of being seen as like a sort of a figure of the people, he's so like his popularity is like spiking really hot on the show. Like people are chanting Richard lives, Richard lives, Richards lives, and it's like he's seeing a it's like he's a and like there's like revolution, there's like a revolution, or like the potential for a full-scale revolution that's being built around him, but he himself is like really like he refuses the call to that for much of the movie. And I think that's interesting, but I feel like in execution it feels like the movie kind of never really has a full it feels like the movie almost doesn't have a second act for a while. And I think the stretch of like refusing the call until when Richards finally starts to like play into the real rules of the Running Man, where like, okay, all that matters is the ratings. I have to be more and more of like what the network expects of me. And it's again, they're all like interesting ideas, and it's getting to interesting places. But by the end, it feels like it just pulls its punch back, like where it has this like, it feels like it's leading to this like really dark, this real downer beat. But like then he gets like it's like Edgar got a studio note that said this is too sad, and I don't know if that is what happened, but it's sort of dancing around these ideas about like, again, media manipulation and like media pushing narratives to like for multiple reasons. Like there's like with the network that with Dan Killian's network, there's like sort of this like in-universe lie that they tell to like sell like the narrative of like this season of the Running Man, and like the potentially what they want to do next, and like how they do that. And like there's obvious like there's very blunt commentary on like the audience's complacency in media intake, just sort of taking it at face value, and like artists, and like both our desire to like see stuff, to like see like stuff like to like see people get killed on television, and like again, that's all like stuff that King was working on. But like it hits this point where it's almost like the movie is too faithful, and also not faithful enough to the King book, where it'll like do this thing of like it'll have this moment of like a very network style passionate monologue of like, nothing I did on the Running Man made me a hero. This whole thing is bullshit. Just turn it off. But no, and then it has this like, so it wants to, but like then with the ending, it wants to sort of exist in the space of ambiguity of like, oh, what is the in-universe is this a message that is being like sold to us through like both the evil corporate network, or or also is this another network that's being sold by these other people who want to like use the story of Ben Richards against the network to maybe spark a bigger revolution. But then it like gives you a call to arms at the end, and like the movie itself that you in the audience in the theater are watching gives you a call to arms, and it's like, I'm getting a lot of like mixed signals here, and man, it's just so frustrating. Like, cause like, especially because like I see I see the better movie in that is in here. Maybe if you like just tighten it up, because this is like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It could probably be under 2 hours, I think. If you like tighten things up, maybe like did some like other, maybe like worked around like some of the some shots in like, especially the back half, because some of the back half action isn't like is kind of, again, it's kind of like, it's not to the standard of Edgar Wright, and yeah, maybe just like rework that editing, rework that ending, because like, again, like I like the ambiguity it's going for, but like in execution it's just lackluster, and that's kind of my general feelings of the movie itself. It has moments where it's really where like it's fun. I did enjoy myself enough to like, I don't regret seeing this, but like I really think this could have been much better, because as is, it's pretty lackluster, especially given the fact that Edgar Wright is so selective about his work, about what movies he directs, and so like any new one feels like it, like to have a new movie from him that feels this like that feels like this identity free from him. It's like, why did he want to do this? It just feels like a studio job, which is weird because because he's been wanting to do The Running Man for years. But yeah, it's just odd. Like I really wish this movie at the very least had more of that Edgar Wright zhuzh, you know, like Baby Driver, and like I don't know what he could do. I don't think he's sauceless anymore. I've been seeing a lot of like really negative, some pretty negative reactions to this, and like oh, or goat washed, oh, he fell off. I don't think that. I think like that sort of implies that he's like fallen and can't get up. I feel like he definitely lost his mojo here. Maybe like, you know, maybe working with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost again couldn't hurt, but like it's not like he's sauceless. Like again, like you didn't work with Pegg or Frost with Scott Pilgrim. That movie rips. So does Baby Driver. Or hell, like I for all my problems with Last Night in Soho, I could tell that it was directed by Edgar Wright. But as is, Running Man is like just sort of, it's fun in parts, but like really just frustrating and lackluster, and that's kind of all I got. I'm feeling kind of a light to decent 5. I'm very down the middle on this. Very, very mixed feelings. But I mean, like, I guess that's it. That's all I got right now. And so yeah, what did you think of The Running Man? What do you think of Edgar Wright now? What do you think it can do? Where do you think it can go next? And that'll be it. I'm Zach. I like movies. I have a lot more movies to watch. I hope you watch movies too. And you take care of yourself. Movies are life. And life is in fact worth living. And I hope you all take care of yourselves. See you later.